will just share my screen.
Yeah, I will put off my video just for some time. Just know that I'm actively with you.
No worries. No worries. I understand.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening or good night. If you're in Australia like me, my name is Chinelo Olaimika, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning, this afternoon, or this day to talk about breaking barriers. I think this year's World Mental Health Day um, is focusing on reducing stigma and fostering compassion. So it's important. I think it's very important for us to talk about breaking barriers and reducing stigma, as well as fostering compassion as we do that. Yeah. So what we'll be discussing or talking about would majorly be understanding what mental health is and its importance. We'll talk about um, the fact and the myth associated with stigmatization. We'll also talk about strategies to overcome stigma and how we can foster compassion. And finally, we will discuss practical resources on self-care practices. And if anyone has any question or answer, we'll be happy to take one or two. And if you have any question after this session and you by chance watch the recording offline, remember you can drop your question to the convener and we'll be happy to respond to you when the questions come in. So mental health is important. I mean, is a vital component of overall well-being. We should know that, overall well-being has many components to it. It's not just the mental. There's physical, there's social, there's financial, there's social, spiritual well-being as well. And mental health also cut across all that. And we will be exploring how common mental health challenges affect different age. So it is important for us to understand that mental health is different from the mental illness, and sometimes people confuse that to mean mental illness to mean or to mean mental health. They confuse it to mean absence of a state of well-being, but the definition of it is basically your emotional, physical, and social well-being. And it influences how you think, how you feel, and you relate to other people. And so understanding this is quite important. Your emotional and psychological well-being all make up your mental health. And this involves how you manage your emotions. A very good example of emotion could be feeling emotions such as anger, happiness, disappointment, or things like that. And your ability to balance them in your day-to-day life is mental health, like encompasses that mental health in our data, in the current day. Now, social well-being also influences how you relate with other people and is an important component of mental health because it helps you to build social connection with other people and help you to fit into your society and the expectation also that is associated in that society. So being aware of how all this affects you as an individual would do you a lot of good. It's very important for you to understand so that you reduce misconception and reduce stigma. At the same time, you will then promote awareness about how all this affects people on day to day. So we're moving away from that crude, unrealistic way of thinking about mental health to more adaptive way of looking at mental health. So there's been some, common mental health challenges that people across the world faces. And anxiety, depression, substance use disorder, psychosis, and so many more affect both you and adults. So it's not just a group of people. In the past, they sometimes classify that people from socioeconomic cadre, or people who are on the extreme end of the socioeconomic situation or ladder, used to have certain type of mental health disorders, but that is not true. It comes across all ages, all statuses, and also genders. So this is very important for you to be aware of that. So if you're thinking that you are exempted from a possibility of developing one, well, you have to look again. And mental health disorders also impact your daily life. It can affect how you look at yourself, how you function at work, how you perform at school, in your study, on your trainings. It can affect the quality of your relationship, how you behave in relationship, how you handle conflicts in relationship, and also affects your productivity in significant ways. So this is very important. And that is why we have to look and recognize mental health issues quite early, because timely support would help improve outcome. If we tackle these issues early and reduce stigma, and it would help increase productivity, you find that you and your relationship becomes healthier and adaptive, and you're able to cope with day-to-day life issues. And so the role of mental health is, we cannot overemphasize the importance of what having adaptive mental health and in our overall well-being. Good mental health supports resilience, it supports decision making, and your ability to cope with stress. And it is an integral part of your physical health and quality of life. So it also helps to emphasize holistic, care. It drives you to have better, clear thinking, and you're able to make better decisions in your daily life. And also, it also helps you to look after your physical self, because if you're not well mentally, it can affect how you look after your body, and what you think about life generally. And what is the stigma surrounding illness often create barriers to treatment and understanding, you know. And we're going to look at how the effect of stigmatization, the myth, and the facts and effect on everyone, and how it can harm you as an individual and also the community where you come from. So there are common stereotypes and misconceptions that people have about mental illness. Sometimes we think mental illness is a sign of weakness. Uh, Sometimes we believe that I've heard something weird. Sometimes I remember growing up, I've heard people say things like when someone has an epileptic seizure, there used to be a strong misconception around that when someone is having an episode, and um, we think that it is transferable. Once the body fluid from the person touches you, or if you cross over the person, you get infected. I mean, so many misconceptions that we have. I used to also think that people who has mental illness are those ones walking on the road, those people who are homeless, who have no place to stay. And because they don't have, a place to stay and good clothing, I assume that that's what mental illness should look like. But that is often wrong, and it fuels stigma. So we need to understand that that is not the only sign of mental illness. I mean, if someone is walking around um, without clothes on, or who are homeless, because some of these people are not mentally ill, they just don't have a place to stay. So you need to understand that when we have false beliefs, it increases discrimination, it hinders open and supportive conversation about mental health. Some years ago, I worked in mental health facility, and one thing I love about that particular facility is that they employ people with mental health, issues at work, and I am very excited, to work with them. They're incredible people with great minds to work with. But every now and then I still see some people who don't understand what mental illness is and how it works, and they talk down this some of these people and make them feel like something is wrong with you for going through such condition. So I'm telling you today that you need to understand that it's not a sign of weakness, and you are to stop discriminating or talking down. Then they understand, they can hear you, they feel you, everything you experience, they go through that. They have relationship. They can hold down a job. In fact, some people even lead industries and they help people. As long as they are getting their treatment, you are not to look at them any differently than you are. So this is very important for us to be aware of. So stigma causes shame, it causes isolation, and it reduces opportunities. It affects people's willingness to seek help, and it impacts the way our family works. I've heard someone say, "Oh, I don't want to go back home because they laugh at me." Or if I suddenly laugh out because I remember something, they start looking at me in a strange way, like, "Is anything wrong with you? Are you okay?" You know, uh, and that affects families, affect people's recovery and ability to function well as a member of a community. So it's important that we understand that whatever you say, whatever you do, it affects you, it affects family, and it also has a community influence. It weakens family community support network and reduces collective care and inclusion. So it is important that we um, discourage people who are stigmatizing on those who may have mental health issue. And some of the consequences is barrier to seeking help. So because of the fear of judgment and discrimination, it prevents people from wanting to seek help. It it worsens the outcomes, and I mean sometimes when I was in clinical care, I mean hospital care back in Nigeria, you see, we'll nurse a client back to help, and as soon as they get home, they relapse, and you wonder like what is going on at home, because the home should be a place where you're accepted. But sometimes this stigma can make client not want to come back for treatment, not want to believe that they need to seek help, and it can impact their ability, even their self-esteem, in terms of like going to work or even trying anything. And when you delay treatment, it can make things worse and cause a strain in the society we live in. So overcoming stigma is essential for early treatment and recovery. So what are the strategies that we need to reframe or we need to do to stop stigma? We need to look at, the first thing to look at is that we need to watch what we say. We need to watch what we say. We need to communicate respectfully and put the person first, put the person first rather than saying, oh, that depressive person. No. You can use the word, that woman living with depression or that man living with schizophrenia. You put the person first. And when you're talking to them, talk directly to them. Don't talk as if they don't understand you or they are not human or they don't deserve to be there, right? Even when you're talking about it on social media, you're putting, watch what you say. Watch what you say. It is very important because what that does is it reduces prejudice. One of the things that I find very hopefully it has changed in Nigeria, but one of the things I respect and enjoy about working here in Australia is that people, regardless of what your condition, as long as you're able to do something, you will get a job. You will be treated as human and you're respected. And rooms are made for you to grow, even with your condition, even conditions that you never thought that people will be able to function because they have learned and see the importance of respectful communication and representation does help. Second thing that we can do to help us reduce our stigma is sharing personal experience. Some years ago I had depression. It was terrible. I've been depressed before. It's not something I can explain, but for months I was depressed. Even when I moved to Australia, I had depression because of that change of environment and the shock, having to meet other people. So letting you know that you're not alone in this. I used to read about anxiety disorder until I got to this country. I saw that, wow, this is a realist, experience that people go through. And I see why they are having such experience. So sharing your personal story makes it easy for people to relate to you. And, it will also help them, draw them to come out and to share their experience. Also, it will break down barriers when you share your own experience. So you don't pretend as if everything is fine. You don't go around telling people to man up or woman up if there's anything like that. You have to, help in, sharing story. It doesn't have to be your personal experience. It could be a story of someone who is close to you. I remember a time my mom, had an episode, and I remember my dad saying to me, "Thank God you studied clinical psychology because I don't know what we're going to do to help and support your mom." So it is very important when we have people who have similar experience and are willing, to talk about how, they've been able to manage themselves. By the way, my mom is doing very well. She's independent. She's looking after grandchildren and looking after herself. She does things independently, without if she did not tell you that she's once had an episode of mental health, distress at some point, you will not believe it. So people can still live. You can still lead a normal, adaptive life when you encourage them and you seek healthy support. So storytelling breaks down barrier and it encourages understanding. Use your platforms for advocacy. Once in a while, put something on your social media. Let people know that you are, you are committed to letting people know about about mental health and how it affects other people. And these are vital for spreading awareness, providing support, and empowering individuals who advocate for mental health. So join a support group or even start one, like what Save Even is doing, Safe Mind is doing. Go to schools. I remember, we used to go to schools to empower and advocate, to young people to help them see that, you can look after yourself. There's help available, and we can put an end to stigma. So when someone falls ill or has issues, rather than making jest of them or putting a post on social media to shame them, rather you point them to where to get help instead. Cultivating empathy and understanding helps to create environment, where individual feel safe and supported. We're going to look at how we can foster a supportive environment. Some of the things we can do. The first is developing empathy and understanding. And empathy starts with listening. Now, empathy is when you put yourself in another person's shoe, when you genuinely care about how they are feeling and what you can do to just listen to them. Sometimes people just need someone to listen to them and not to do anything. They just want you to listen without interruption or judgment. They just want someone to offload, sometimes when I see clients, I don't even offer direct intervention. I just let them flow, and I see that the impact of listening, actively listening, really helps contribute a lot in recovery for people who may be going through one difficulty. Secondly, validate their feeling, validate them, say, I hear you, I see you. You know, validating feelings helps to strengthen emotional bond and trust, and it builds strong connection. Now, when you build strong connection, it reduces stigma, it reduces judgment, and it helps you to have meaningful relationship when you do that. Also, you can learn mental health first aid. I mean, this is another topic on its own, and even there's a course on it that you can take online. I think some of them are free, where you can learn how to support a friend or loved ones. Now, what mental health first aid training teaches you how to do is to recognize signs of distress and provide support and referral. So you recognize the sign, you then promote and support them, for that first instance, and then refer to the appropriate channel. It's just like a normal physical first aid. If someone has a bruise, you know what to do. Most of us know. The first thing you disinfect the wound and cover it up. If something that needs for them to see a doctor, you make sure that you stop the bleeding using whatever ice pack or cotton or whatever it is that to help stop the bleeding, apply pressure. All those things you did in your first aid to say, help someone who's has broken their leg or things like that. There's also one designed for mental health well-being. And if you're able to identify on time, early intervention, really helps. It could start from someone complaining, oh, I don't sleep. I don't have opportunity to sleep. A lot of things have been going on, and you listen actively without judgment. You offer support, and then you redirect them. You can talk to a counselor about it. You can talk to your family or your friend, or confide in someone about how you're going. You can offer practical support during that time. But if you're not aware of all this, it's going to be quite challenging for you to find or to support them. So it's very important to know the signs, identify them. Hopefully, one of these days we can do a video on how to identify some of these common mental health, distresses or sign, and then what to do when that happens and when to transfer them on. Maybe to put it out there, for example, if someone loses a loved one, the at first, people first think that, oh, you need to tell them, don't cry, that's it's like you're disrupting the recovery process for that person, and the person is trying to process. During that time is not the time for you to say don't cry, be strong. No, just silence. With silence alone is okay, is enough. And just say, I'm here for you when you're ready to talk. You don't even need as much intervention. It's just like someone to walk them through what is happening, let them know that's normal response, and just let them be. People will naturally recover. That's just one example of mental health first aid when it comes to a loss or things like that. You don't call people together and say, okay, start telling your story, start sharing your story of what has happened. No, because it's been found to, affect people more than you just let the brain process things, and you'll be fine. But if you don't know all these things, you might miss it, and it's not too late to learn about all this. Also, having and building inclusive community, respecting diversity and providing safe spaces, very important. You can initiate a mental wellness initiative, just as what we are having now. And that's why, when Dr. Ike reached out to me and said, oh, this is what I'm doing, I would like you to be part of this and all that, I just jump on it without even thinking, because this is a platform for us to spread that, create that safe space for people, especially the young people who can come in and share how they're going and also increase and foster their well-being. So I'm calling you to action, all right? So what are some of the things or resources that you can do to access support and to reduce stigma? First is to find a professional help. We have nurse, okay, who is versatile, is like 5 in 1. Is a nurse, is an author, is a poet, is a lover man, is a comedian, you know, he does a lot of things, you know. That's like a first, and is like you know, the brain behind Save Mind. So you can reach out to him to seek professional support. You can look at, you know, your environment where you are, who is a counselor, who is a doctor, your nurse also can also help you support and link you up to professional help, right? So there are some hotlines. I think there's one for shopping. I would look into, because I'm in their group, I would look into their helpline or flyer and share with Nonake. If anyone needs like a crisis support line, you can call. I think safe space, or yeah, I'm not sure if they are still existing. Also, I know in Lagos they also have some crisis hotline where you can call. Even your workplace, if you're working, sometimes they provide EAP. EAP means Employee Assistance Program. I don't know what they call it where you are, but it could be like a well-being or recovery program that's available for employees to access, where you can have access to counseling, um, and some, you know, rebate services that's tailored to your need. There's some online Facebook groups that you can join, that they are all talking about mental health. It's something, you know, to look at for. Um, Other important things for you to do is to practice mindfulness. To practice mindfulness. Now, mindfulness helps you to improve mental clarity, and it helps you to reduce stress through focus, awareness, and meditation. Physical exercises also have been found to, you know, boost your emotional well-being, and engaging in hobbies also helps improve your creativity and also provides some emotional relaxation. So it could be watching movies, spending time with friends, learning new skill, knitting, you know, all these things are an example of things you can adopt. You can also play a role in putting an end to stigma, and it could be advocacy role, like making sure you advocate for people. I know some people volunteer to be like their work health safety officer in their workplace, to be that voice to other people who are going through difficulty. It could be at school. Even we can even speak to school to have a prefect that, you know, oversee mental health issues. Could just be a mental health prefect or something like that. All these things also can help shape how people view. I know for some schools, I think they started it too in Nigeria, but I can say for here that some classes that for primary school students that's dedicated for mental well-being, and teachers are even trained on how to help children to recognize the signs. And even unis, university, I know, I heard University of Ibadan is also, you know, started, that they have like their side clinic where students can come and receive, you know, help. You can volunteer as well, just as I'm volunteering my time and my resources and my knowledge to support people. You can also be part of that. Raise awareness using your social media platform or whatever any chance you get. And so if you like to learn more about mental health generally, the WHO has, you know, a robust resources that you can look at, statistics that you can use to confirm, and they offer like tools or strategies that you can even print out and post either in school, in your school, or at your place of work to help reduce stigma and also increase mental awareness. So you don't just think someone is lazy or or is snobbish. Sometimes you say, oh, that person is too proud. You don't know what they're dealing with. People are going through a lot and they're just trying to survive. And then you're there making passing judgments without really listening. And that's one of the things I've learned, like to listen, to watch out and see, and then create chance. And most of the time you see that those guards that people put up, they'll just drop it. I've had times where people naturally will share serious things with me. And I'm like, okay. And this person look okay, you know, on the surface, but they're going through serious issues. And if I'm there trying to judge them or think that who is this person or something like that, they'll probably not open up. I've heard someone told me when they see me when I was working in Nigeria, I was told that I'm cold and um, and distant. And I smile. And I mean that was what they saw at first. Meanwhile, I was just working. I'm serious. Like because when I was work, I want like I'm really, really serious at what I do. And but after work, I think after a while, they start to see that, oh, she's quite warm, she's approachable. This is who she is, and she's just in her own world. And most of the time I'm in my own world calculating things or thinking about things. Some people, I mean, now I'm just realizing that I might have ADHD symptoms that is making me acting that way or things like that. So but you don't go on the surface and judge the person and say, you're this when you've not had the chance to speak and know them. So having this tool in your workplace could help break down that barrier. The National Institute of Mental Health also has publications and educational materials that you can access and update also um, on treatments and new researches on different types of mental health issues that could help. And this is really good for people who are professionals, either you're a nurse or a social worker, a psychologist, or a teacher, a student who's curious, anyone at all. I think you find it quite useful to visit that website to get some of these publications. So there are some books you could also look out for. For young people, there is the anxiety workbook for just, what you do, just type it on Google and different types of books will come out for you. Mind Your Head is also another book you could look into. Stop That Sucks. It helps you to teach, acceptance and mindfulness. The Body Keeps the Score. This is a book I also recommend for some of my clients who have had trauma and it has impacted their health. Another book about trauma or understanding how complex trauma, affect people's behavior and all that is What Happened to You by Oprah Winfrey and Brad. Is it Brad? I've forgotten the other person's name. It's a very, nice book to get. Furiously Happy also helps, take on living with depression, how people, can deal with that. An Invisible String, it helps children to understand emotional connection and support. So these are some of the things that you can explore and get some material on them online to help you, teach you. So the idea is to give you more knowledge. It will help you to cope and deal with different people. I remember back in our days, the books that was available to us then, um, God bless his soul, Tim LaHaye, why you behave the way you do. Oh God, I read that book back to back. And that really helped me to relate with people. And when you see someone who just, oh, that's melancholy trait. And then, I become calmer and then and I start describing you and be like, oh, how did you know? you know so getting book and studying by yourself would really help a lot, and trust me, that has really helped me, even though I know these are like that's based on the understanding of how people behave during those times. So look for a book that represents your time, and empower yourself through that. All right, so the floor is open. And if you have any questions, so I'm happy to take a question or two. And I know I'm not taking much of our time. I think I'm right on time. Yeah. Oh, thank
Thank,
you.
thank you so much, Chinelo. I mean, this is our foremost virtual presentation, and in fact,
Awesome.
yeah, you were amazing as usual. I mean, you raised a lot of points just within few minutes. You gave a summary of the whole theme, and it was just concise and synoptic. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Mm. Yeah, I mean, you made so many important points. And one other point that struck me was when you
Mm,
were talking about, stigma coming from, home, and,
mm,
the way people, the language that people use and all of that. That is really very timely. In fact,
mm,
stigma alone, because of the significance it has in mental
mm,
health recovery, um, uh, he's been linked by scholars as a disease, a disorder on its own.
mm,
Um,
mm,
yeah, and this also aligns with our mission and vision, as Safe Mind, to normalize mental health conversations and to get expert by experience involved. In fact, in our quest to, raise credibility, partner with the global audience, connect with more people, we are trying to register the foundation here in the UK. And I'm glad to announce that a panel, a global speaker, a consultant who is also an expert by experience, someone who
yeah.
advocates for schizophrenia, because she too, he's a service user and she's proud to share
Yeah.
her experience
Oh,
based in
that's
the
great.
US. Yeah,
Yeah.
based in the US. I mean, the lady is just so amazing. Sally, she has uh,
Yeah.
um, uh, um, accepted to join, our board as an advocate and
That's
global
great.
partnership. Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is just to
Awesome.
showcase. Yeah, this is just to demonstrate to the world that indeed we recognize that people, that have experienced one mental health disorder
Mm,
or the other, they have their wealth of experience, their knowledge,
mm,
they are experts, by
yeah.
experience. And as Safe
Mm,
Mind Foundation, we don't, hesitate to get them involved. In fact,
mm,
we learn from them because from their place of experience and all that. So that
mm,
also helps to reduce stigma, because
mm,
by so doing, we are normalizing conversations around mental health. And then,
yeah.
you made mention of, I think, something related. Okay, in the context of the language we use, you know,
Yeah.
stigma is also in the healthcare sector, where we say, "Oh, this person is not my patient. This person, this schizophrenic patient, this depressed
Yeah.
patient." Yeah, I mean, it was a very wonderful point that you raised there, and I must acknowledge that. I have nothing else to add. It's just to, compliment all you've said. Yeah, is very important. And I want to also encourage us, because we are just four participants here, and I understand that because of the time factor, 11 to 12 is a prime hour in Nigeria where many people are at work. So
Mm,
yeah, but the good thing is that this is recorded for future reference, and anyone who didn't participate can also, listen. So let's not be
yeah.
discouraged by the small audience that we have here. I'm sure that a lot of people are going to listen to this, and because
Yeah.
we are we are a growing foundation, we are growing
Mm,
daily. So our community members will be increasing, and at some point, maybe we'll even be selective in the number of people that can join us. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get there. But thank you so much. Faith Chemere is one of our amazing members. She's a registered mental health and she does the admin role and a lot of things we do online. Right now, she's in a meeting and that's why she's muted. She's not, yeah, but she's an active member of our team. So thank you so
Okay.
much, Chinelo. I don't have any
Yeah.
question. I just wanted to compliment all you've said.
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm happy to lend my support in the little way that I'm doing. And I think it's a good opportunity to let people hear. And I'm not worried about the number of people because I know that when we say stuff, it's out there. One day, it
Yeah.
might just for one person who would come across this later in the future and share that. Oh, I've had people
Mm.
come to meet me and say, "Oh, I've seen you in one conference. Oh, I've heard you, talk somewhere."
Yeah.
A very weird one. Someone saw me and said, "Oh, I watched one of your movies. Like I've featured in some gospel productions." And he said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I saw you in one movie." I was embarrassed. Because there was no way it would get across like that. And someone said, "Oh, I saw you one movie. That's you." And they
Yeah.
mentioned it. I say, "Ah, that's true. I'm the one." So I understand that whatever seed we are sowing now, would reach out to other people, and I'm
Yeah.
happy to be part of that voice, for my generation that will say, "Oh no, I've read about you, I've heard about you, and I've seen your work." So I'm happy to be part of it, and I feel honored to be invited to share with everyone.
Yeah. The honor is all ours. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you're
So
welcome.
yeah, hopefully we you also accept our invitation at some point later.
Yeah, hopefully, once you consider the time difference.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, hopefully we'll have a better arrangement. We are currently planning for a mental health conference in Nigeria, but that has not been finalized. I will communicate to you, yeah, in due time.
Okay, no
Yeah,
worries, no worries. I'll be happy to join.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and happy World Mental Health Day. Even though
Yeah,
I know with mental health people, it's like business as usual, but it's
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. But to us as a foundation, we really want to, mark it and,
Yeah.
make it, yeah, just as a day to create awareness. In
Mm.
Lagos today, we also have some members of our team who will be going for an outreach.
Okay,
They'll be
awesome.
going to a school, to talk to boys on substance abuse and all of
Mm.
that. So we'll share
Yeah, that's
on
good.
all the correspondence online.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome. Thank you
yeah,
so much for having me,
yeah.
and thank you, Dennis. Or thank you, Faith,
Mm.
for helping to facilitate this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, take care.